think we all probably have thought about this, especially with the Muslim hostility, you know. You think, now, how can we speak truth without offending them? You know? How can you speak truth without offending Muslims and making them think that you don't respect their traditions? And it seems so obvious to us that we often miss it. And of course it is that Jesus is really the Son of our Maker. And Muhammad was a wonderful prophet for many in the East. And he tried to share with them much of what he had learned in his own study of the Old Testament. And that's why they have the respect that they have for people like Abraham and Isaac. But he never claimed to be more than, as he said, the prophet of Allah. And Jesus is actually God's only Son. He is actually the Son of the Maker of our world. Moreover, he is the one in whom we were all created. We were made inside him. And of course, that is all startling to Muslims, and they have no idea of Jesus being the actual Son of God. They really don't believe that God can come to earth like that. And certainly they have no notion of us all being made inside Jesus. They never believe for a moment that they are made inside Muhammad. And it seems to me that's one way in which you can certainly escape this competition between Jesus and Muhammad. And you can afford to make it very clear that you are not doing anything but giving respect to Muhammad and to his traditions and his way of life. And of course we aren't saying we agree with everything that he said or did not say about war, but certainly you can express respect. And I think often what they feel is there is no respect for their traditions, and there is in fact contempt for their whole way of life, because so much of their life is based on traditions that Muhammad passed on to them. So it seems to me it is very important to avoid creating a dichotomy or a competition that does not in fact exist. We're not talking about two prophets. Now it is true that they will often think of Jesus as a prophet, and certainly you're adding to it when you explain who Jesus really is. But it seems to me that we have a responsibility to do. We have no responsibility to make them believe it, but we have a responsibility to share it. And then it seems to me it brings home to us ourselves the whole reality of our situation, that it means something different for us when we think of the afterlife, because many in Islam, and certainly most in the Hindu religion, will believe that in some way after we die we all become part of the great spirit of the universe. And that's why really I often think of him really with affection, even though he obviously does a job on us on the web. But I remember Kush and I used to joke about the Hindus, you know, who try to express the essence of the spirit of the universe by one sound, Om, you know, and that we become a part of that great spirit of the universe when we die and go to heaven. And I do think that often we miss ourselves the heart of the difference between our expectation in heaven and the expectation of the person from the Islam religion or from Hinduism. They do believe that in some way we will continue to exist as part of the great spirit of the universe. But they themselves won't know it individually. They'll melt into the great spirit of the universe. They'll often use even the illustration of melting into the great ocean, the great Pacific Ocean, so that you just become part of that great ocean and you no longer have any existence of your own. And it seems to me it's a great privilege that God has given us in the reality of the truth. And He has made it very plain to us that we will retain our self-consciousness, that you will know that Lazarus is Lazarus, you will know that Dives is Dives, you will know that Elijah is Elijah, and that He has given us the gift of self-consciousness so that we will not disappear into Christ. We will be members of Christ. We will be part of Christ Himself. We will be limbs of His. And we will be aware of our own existence. And will be conscious that we are individuals within Him. And that we will have that sense. And so in heaven we will be able to recognize our dads, our mums, our brothers, our sisters, our friends, others who are in Him. And they will know us. And that is very different from the belief that other religions have, that we will continue a life, but we will somehow lose our sense of our own individuality. And it is a great privilege that God has given us, that we will know that. You know what we've done with it. We've taken that self-consciousness, which probably is one of the things that distinguishes us from the animals. We have taken that self-consciousness and we have become utterly preoccupied with our own self-existence. And you have to think about it, because we tend to say these things to one another and not realize, yeah, that is true. But we have taken that self-consciousness and we live utterly and absolutely in that. We have not accepted that self-consciousness as a reflection of reality, as an expression of our consciousness that we are part of Christ. We have played down that whole side of it. And we have taken the self-consciousness and played up the side. We are ourselves individuals. We are here in our own right. And we have become utterly preoccupied with our individuality and our existence apart from Christ. And in that sense, we have sunk into unreality and into deception. And of course, it's evident. I just ask you, think of it. You think you'll enjoy this play this afternoon? Do you think you really will? Do you think you'll like? Will we get good seats? Immediately, the little mind goes to, no, I wonder, am I going to enjoy this? Lord, how are you? Are you going to enjoy it? not a thought, because that's stupid. You know? Not a thought of it, because that's stupid, if not spooky. But it is interesting how our self-consciousness, which is such a wonderful gift from God, a wonderful opportunity to be able to say with Paul, to me, to live is Christ. That's what it is, because that's where I am. I'm part of Him. But to us, it's so often me, 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 me. You know. It's so often, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? And we've turned our self-consciousness into self-centeredness, so that we do look at the whole world as a great hinterland, you know, that sends in its supplies to us. And we think of it that way. We expect it to send in its recognition and its acknowledgement of our value and our importance. And we expect it to send in its food and its shelter and its clothing to us so that we get what we need. And we expect it to send in its happy little experiences so that we get happiness. But we do tend to be centered in ourselves and to look at everything from our own point of view. Look at everything from how am I feeling? How am I feeling? What am I going to do in this situation? How am I going to manage this? How am I going to get myself into that spot? And it's almost total preoccupation with ourselves. And of course it's missing everything. I was saying to Irene, because it came to me a couple of days ago, you know, when you lose your life for His sake, you're really at last able to enjoy it. Yes, when you get outside yourself, you're at last able to look at yourself and see what you're enjoying. You're at last able to enjoy life when you lose it for His sake. When you cease to think of it as yourself. In a funny way, if you think about it, you can't enjoy yourself while you're in the middle of yourself, because you can't see yourself. You're so utterly taken up with yourself that you can't enjoy anything the self is passing through. So sometimes, have you ever thought that sometimes you enjoy what other people are enjoying better than what you're enjoying yourself? In fact, you think of yourself in that position, and it doesn't seem so wonderful when you're in it. We used to love to go out to the airport in Minnesota because of our connection with the rest of the world, which we felt utterly cut off from moving from London to Minneapolis. However wonderful Minneapolis was, it was a shadow of London. And so we used to go to the airport to watch the planes take off. And gradually then, as we began to fly ourselves, we thought, you know, it's more fun watching than it is being in the plane. And of course we've continued to feel that. You know, you look up at a plane and you say, oh, it's lovely to see it arcing through the sky. But we know what it's like inside, and it's not so comfy. So it's the same. We're so much in the middle of ourselves that we can't enjoy ourselves. And I think that's the truth. And reality is a self-consciousness that is conscious. I am part of Jesus. I am part of Him. And I thought of that earlier today. I didn't think of the actual illustration, but I thought of the issue. And I was going to say it to you. My illustration was better than the truth, but or better than the bare expression of the truth. The truth is, we should be looking round to Jesus every moment and saying, "What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to say?" But it's not bad, the little theatre one. Are you enjoying this, Lord? This play? And we begin to live that way, then you become, I got this from the Savior this morning, I shouldn't say that but his Spirit seemed to say to me, we are water carriers for Jesus. We are water carriers. We're people who do things